What's up YouTube, Capital G here talking Shining Victories in this video. 3 more cards from the OCG. Man, they've been really on the ball this weekend with Shining Victories. We were talking about the Moonlight cards and Shun's New Exceed, and now they're just giving us even more stuff. There are 3 cards in this article. One of them is amazing. That'll be the majority, like the bulk of this video. And then 2 of them are kind of like niche cards. I'm going to discuss all 3, but the bulk will be discussing this card at the top. So anyways, first up is Tuner's High. You can see a picture of it right here. It's a normal spell card. It says discard 1 monster from your hand, special summon 1 tuner from your deck that's the same type and attribute as the monster, obviously the one you discarded, but 1 level higher. It's weird because it's supposed to work with like tuning and synchroing, getting a tuner from the deck, but it's like, to me, it kind of seems like an archetype specific card because what you summon has to be the same type and attribute as what you discard. Like same attribute and type, usually that means you're playing like an archetype. And I can't really think of, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some applications out there, but I don't know, a lot of the best decks that synchro right now, like, you know, Yang Zing, you really can't use it in because the attributes are like all over the place, let alone trying to find the same, you know, the level situation to work. I mean, the card seems kind of situational. It definitely seems like a card that's not going to fit into all synchro based decks because you're just not going to be able to work with that type of restriction. So, I mean, you're going to have to work to get this into a deck. I'm sure some of you guys will be yelling at me because there are some things I didn't think about, but man, those are some hefty restrictions. Next up is Normal Trap. It's called Daunting Pose. And I think it's here, right? Yep, here. And you can only activate 1 Daunting Pose per turn. You target a defense position monster on the field. You double that monster's defense, but when that turn ends, that monster's defense becomes 0. And the second effect says you can banish this card, then target 1 monster you control. During this turn, your opponent cannot attack the targeted monster. If I'm not mistaken, that is a Super Heavy Samurai in the artwork. I think that's Benkai, and to me this kind of seems like a Super Heavy Samurai like or support card, because when would you really want to bolster a monster's defense like by double? It's just not that practical in Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you have Super Heavy Samurai, it makes sense because their defense essentially becomes their attack, and not being able to attack one, I can kind of see this working in Super Heavy Samurai. But for the most part, I thought the deck kind of benefited from not playing spells and traps. But if you're going to play spells and traps, this one makes a lot of sense. Other than that, there's going to have to be monsters at least similar to Super Heavy Samurai for this card to work. I mean, doubling monsters' attacks isn't even that good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's generally not even worth using like other ancillary pieces like spells and traps on. But doubling its defense is far worse because it's not like you can immediately use that to attack your opponent with or to do damage, except in that one specific archetype. So Super Heavy Samurais, I give this card maybe a look. Everywhere else, you're really reaching. And then the last card, the one that I think will immediately see play, at least as far as anti-meta decks, is this card Unwavering Bonds. You can see a picture of it right here. As soon as I saw the card, before I even really comprehended that the name of the card, I was like, yo, is it me or is this card reminiscent of Wavering Eyes? And it took me a second. I was like, I think those are the same characters from the Wavering Eyes card. And then you look at the name Unwavering Bonds. Makes perfect sense. It is very similar to Wavering Eyes. Those are probably the same exact monsters, and maybe there's a storyline there. But anyways, this is a counter trap instantly like that. Spell speed 3s are hard as fuck to stop. It says when your opponent activates the effect of a card in a pendulum zone or activates the effect of a pendulum monster, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy that card. I cannot express how thankful I am that we fucking have a card like this. This is Konami basically saying, okay, we get it. We fucked up with things like Plush Fire. We're going to give you a way to stop pendulums in some sense. This card is good for so many reasons. For one, being able to stop monster or just being able to stop things that activate in the pendulum zone. Like if you look at the game right now, how many things activate there? Pretty much every single one of the magicians, like they all activate, whether it's pitching cards to blow up back row or monsters, Oak Dragon adding things, Wisdom Magician like adjusting the scales, everything activates. Cleaforth Scout, Cleaforth Monolith, you know what I mean? Like those cards activate. Luster Pendulum, Plush Fire, like those can activate, mirror conductor, you know, swapping attacks and defenses, that activates, and then just being able to negate the effect of a pendulum monster. This means the on the field things when your opponent summons that Magispector, well, any of them like you can just negate them when your opponent activates that freaking that dirty Scroll Combat Joker. That's another one. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon is another one that activates, well, both places, and since this is a counter trap, you can activate it during the damage step. It's also really good, infinitely good, that it does not destroy, it just banishes the monster. This means things like, well, not only does it mean that if your opponent summons like a Scroll Combat Joker, because I really hate when I have to use Nova Alpha on that damn thing, and then it goes to my opponent's extra deck, I'm like, fuck, they can summon it back. This way, you could just get a straight 1-for-1, you stop your opponent's normal summon, you end up banishing the card, that's really important for things like Plush Fire and Aradne and Magispectors, because Magispectors can't be destroyed, and other cards will trigger when they're destroyed, so not destroying pendulums is really good. Banishing them is the best way. Like, to me, this is like an answer to the pendulum summon, or just the pendulum mechanic. This is a legitimate counter to them because it works while they're in the scales, it works while they're on the field, it works everywhere, and again, doesn't cost any light points. This card seems practical as fuck if you're playing against pendulums, if you're playing against Pepe or Cleafords, or, you know, Performages and Pals, or, you know, Pendulum Magicians, Magispectors. You can use it against anything that has pendulums in it. This card is fantastic. I expect this to see immediate play. Maybe not in like the straight top 2 meta decks of the format, but in any deck that like wants to stop pendulums, probably, because it's just a 1-for-1 and it counters damn near everything, and you know it's always going to be live. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna get this card. Also, the artwork's pretty good too. I expect Konami to make this at least an ultra rare in the TCG. I mean, why not? And it'll probably end up being like 40 or so, but I mean, this is one of our answers to the pendulum summon. Between this and 3 Solemn Notice, like, we may not have to sit back and let the pendulum mechanic just completely fuck us in the ass, guys. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.